I'm Joey Tedesco, and you're watching the Cartoon Palooza. Remember when it wasn't ironic to make fun of Dreamworks? Ever since they've been making movies that have been getting nominated for more Academy Awards, they've been seen as the rival of Pixar in quality and artistic merit. Well, I'm here to tell you, no they're not. What have you been smoking? You shouldn't listen to the mainstream press. You've probably been drinking the Dreamworks Kool-Aid, you lazy bum. Ever since it was announced a couple of years back that all their movies was going to be shot in 3D with a quota of 3 films a year, I always felt it imposed an assembly line mentality to their films. You know, more than most mainstream animated movies these days. Which is to say I don't hate all their movies, with the Kung Fu Panda movies being a rare exception. For the most part, all their other movies seem to fit the same deal. Do they have a celebrity voice cast that will get butts in seats? How about a forced humor that makes the appeal to the lowest denominator? Now, can we be complete without our constant sequels to the movies that shouldn't even spawn them to begin with? Again, Kung Fu Panda, an exception. With these qualifications, you get the standard middle-of-the-road films people will forget about in the next 2 years. Something special is there, but for the most part, it's a product to hold over the movie-making machine until the next one comes out. And to prove it to you, let's go back in time to one of the first DreamWorks movies to utilize this, Sinbad, Legend of the Seven Seas. I don't think you can get any more middle-of-the-road than this. Hey, it's got good swashbuckling fun with swords and sailing. And it also has characters with the charisma of cardboard. But hey, look at that villain. She's good character study of insane evil ex-girlfriends. But it also has some pretty lame CG monsters. So let's set sail on moderate entertainment and see where this will take us. Oh, before I begin, can I make this incredibly painful nitpick that the opening theme sounds like the love child of Danny Elfman's scores with The Great Mouse Detective? Our movie takes place in the early days of the Mediterranean, where a pirate extraordinaire, Sinbad, tries to pull off the biggest heist that will put him in retirement. Funny thing, this movie implies that he's the greatest pirate of his time without showing these wonderful heists.
These moldings came all the way from Damascus. Do you have any idea what I went through to steal these?
Why show in a visual medium when we can allude to it? Anyways, their ticket to paradise is also the prize of our villain's eyes. The goddess of chaos frames Sinbad stealing a book, to which his convenient prince friend convinces the council, which has one character whose hat should be censored, that he should steal the book and get it back from the goddess. To keep an eye on Sinbad to make sure he doesn't diverge from his plan, the prince sends security to follow him. No, he sends his fiancée, who he's supposed to marry but makes it seem like he doesn't want to.
Our marriage was arranged many years ago. It's always been expected of us. But politics is not a reason to get married. And I don't want you to do this just because it's your duty.
What? Have you seen Game of Thrones? Weddings are less about true love and more about business. My theory is that he secretly has a 3-headed Gorgon Butana waiting for him in the bedroom. Otherwise, Sinbad and his crew spend the rest of the movie sailing to exotic locations, fighting CG monsters who are just as soulless as they are animated. Yup. And that's our mediocre movie. Well, if there's anything that makes this movie have some value, is the villain. I would rather see the movie revolve around her more than our heroes. Eris, is played by Michelle Pfeiffer, is a joy to watch, and thankfully the one thing I remember the most. I love the way she's designed, always morphing like a dye you pour into a glass of water. Her motivations are pretty clear because as a goddess, let's be honest, she gets off on chaos.
I pull one tiny thread and their whole world unravels into it.
It's just not enough. Oh, man.
This actually brings up another point. There's this subtle ex-girlfriend vibe I get out of Eris that I'm probably looking too hard into, but screw it, I'm gonna discuss it anyways. There will be spoilers for those rare people who waited 10 years to finally see this movie. We started with Eris and Sinbad hitting it off and ends with her arranging a date to his place.
Tartarus. I'll see you there.
It's a date then.
But the next time we see them together on screen, guess who Sinbad brings to dinner? His new girlfriend. Ouch! Not to mention that this isn't a surprise to her since she's been spying on them the whole time. You know, to add to the creepy girlfriend vibe this character already has going for her. So when she puts Sinbad in a position to save Syracuse by making a bet that he wouldn't steal the book, Eris intentionally makes it seem like Sinbad was lying to make Zeta Jones' character upset at him. We know it's a ruse when Sinbad proves her wrong when she was upset because it reveals that Zeta Jones' character still loves him. You see? Creepy ex-girlfriend all the way.
So I meet Eris, the goddess of chaos. She's got a major crush on me, and she invited me back to her place.
Other performances? They're tolerable. Brad Pitt is pretty convincing playing himself. I may be one with the mainstream's appreciation for the rogue anti-heroes. People who are narcissists. They struggle between helping others and helping themselves. We've seen this character with Charlie from All Dogs Go to Heaven, Robert Downey Jr. playing Tony Stark, and the master of deep baggery and awesomeness, Captain Jack Sparrow. Now, it shouldn't come to no surprise that Brad Pitt's character would share a lot with Sparrow, considering that both writers of Curse of the Black Pearl are also credited as consultants for Sinbad. So yeah, since Black Pearl will come out a week or two later, having them as consultants really means... yeah, let's just take these notes, bring them over to Disney, give Sinbad some dreadlocks, give him some rum, and we got ourselves a hit no one will recognize the difference. So yeah, I think he's a pretty solid character. Though what disappoints me the most about this movie is how Sinbad, this legendary thief whose main shtick is that he's a Mediterranean Errol Flynn, is reduced to 5 minutes of actual swordplay. Most of the action involves him running away from monsters. Hey, here's an interesting plan. Why not use those daggers to good use like he did in this scene? It doesn't even help the monsters or this lame attempt to integrate CG into a hand-drawn feature before raising arms and going, screw it, let's make them all CG. I remember back to my Road to El Dorado review where I mentioned that a couple of CG elements seemed off. Well, that's the Achilles tendon of this film. You go from great hand-drawn effects like Eris to monsters that make Lego stop-motion videos look more convincing. At one point, people end up becoming animated computer models for certain scenes. It may seem otherwise, but I can tell. So what else do I have to say about this moderately entertaining, somewhat forgettable movie? I think I might have to give it a new rating. Yeah, I mean, up to this point I've been knowing good or bad. Worth it? Forget about it. Why not put something that's, right in the middle? So yeah, for my brand new rating on the Cartoon Palooza, I'm gonna give Dreamworks Sinbad... So we can only hope that Dreamworks focuses more attention on quality over quantity and make more movies that are like Kung Fu Panda and less like...
Fast, like a shadow.
But shadows, they're not inherently fast.
White shadow.
I can still see you.
Oh, for the love of Christ. I'm Joey Tedesco and I've lost all hope in humanity.